All right, well, with the Winter Games behind us, and as we enter the month of March, we are now just 3 months away from the 2018 World Cup in Russia. I'm Josh Ellis, joined by the Daily Universe's sports editor, Caleb Turner, to break down the groups and talk about how the students here at BYU are coping with the United States' failure to qualify for the tournament. In case you missed it, the U.S. lost 2-1 to Trinidad and Tobago back on October 10th last year in the final game of the CONCACAF World Cup qualifying. After Honduras defeated Mexico 3-2 that same day, Panama scored an 87th minute goal to beat Costa Rica and leapfrog the United States in the standings. Those results left the United States in 5th place, while Panama automatically qualified for the tournament and Honduras went into a playoff, which ended up losing to Australia. As we look here, 8 groups, each with 4 teams. The top 2 teams out of each group move on to the round of 16. The first place of Group A will play the second place of Group B, vice versa, and that way it works that way for the 8 groups paired into 4 following the first round. So just to start here, we'll look at the first 2 groups. You have the hosts Russia, along with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Uruguay in the first group. And in Group B, you have Portugal, Spain, Morocco, and Iran. So looking at those 2 groups, Caleb, maybe a game or 2 that stand out to you, and who do you think has the best odds of moving on?
Yeah, for sure. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the first time Egypt has qualified for the World Cup. And so I think that match, them as an extreme underdog against the host Russia, I think that'll be a really entertaining game. Not maybe just because of the play on the field, but because of the storyline surrounding that. And then I feel like as far as play, like the level of play and competition on the field, you got to go with the matchup between Portugal and Spain, the Iberian Peninsula rivalry. Obviously, 2 powers in international soccer. Portugal, you got Cristiano Ronaldo, and of course, you got the ever-present Spain. So I think that'll be a really entertaining matchup. Hopefully, it's entertaining. You never know. Spain has kind of dropped the ball a couple times in the past few years. But yeah, look for that to be a really competitive game out of those 2 groups.
Yeah, I definitely think it'll be interesting to see how the Russians come out to open. Just of note, Saudi Arabia is the lowest ranked team in the field.
Wow.
With the latest FIFA rankings. Like you said, Egypt back on the world stage for the first time here. They scored a 95th minute penalty to reach the World Cup in their final game of qualifying. And that was scored by Mohamed Salah, who plays with Liverpool and was just named the BBC's African Striker of the Year last year. So definitely an attacking threat there for Egypt. Uruguay finished second in South American qualifying, just behind Brazil. Well, just behind being 10 points, with Brazil running away with the table, but Uruguay comfortably in second. So I definitely expect Uruguay to challenge to get out of that group. And then, like you said, Spain, Portugal, definitely an exciting one to watch. And so, yeah, definitely 2 groups that'll be fun to pay attention to. And with that, we'll look now with Group C and D. You've got France, Australia, Peru, and Denmark in Group C, and then Argentina, Iceland, Croatia, and Nigeria in Group D. And for me, out of those, definitely an interesting thing to watch will be Argentina. Most likely Messi's last chance to win the World Cup, the one piece that has kind of haunted him with his time with the national team there is international success. And in the group above them, Group C, you've got Peru. It's their first World Cup in 36 years. Dramatic last day of qualifying for them to win and get through. Anyone stand out to you in those?
Yeah, Peru for sure. I served my mission down in Chile, so tons of Peruvians there. I've had plenty of friends that are from there and have served there. So that's really cool for them, to have that opportunity to go to the World Cup. I think they've always been kind of viewed as one of the, not one of the powers in South American soccer. So for them to make that, Chile didn't even make it to the World Cup. So for them to make it, I think that's really big for their country. And obviously Argentina, has got to be the favorite coming out of that group. And then I think Nigeria is also a team to watch. If I'm not mistaken, this is either their first or one of the few World Cups that they've qualified for as well. So I think that'll be a fun team to watch as well.
And so just some notes there. In Group D, you've got Iceland, who are the darlings of the Euro 2016 tournament that shocked everyone by beating England in the round of 16. And they had that fun Viking chant after the game. So they'll definitely be a fun group to watch. Australia in Group C had probably the toughest road to get to Russia. Literally, in terms of where they had to get to, they had to play against teams like Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq. So a lot of travel there. And then with the way their group worked out, they had to win a playoff game against Syria just to make the Intercontinental playoff, which then they played Honduras in a home and home. So they had to travel to Honduras and then a couple days fly back, later back to Australia. So they won both of those games to get here to the World Cup. So the Socceroos definitely road tested in that sense, but we'll see if they can hold their own against Peru and France and Denmark in that group. So halfway through the groups, a question for you, Caleb. As you mentioned, you served in Chile. The USA didn't qualify for the World Cup. Other heavyweights such as Chile, the Netherlands, Italy, all failing to make this World Cup. So with that, who do you cheer for, and do you care as much about this World Cup with the USA not participating?
Yes, I'm not going to lie. This is basically the first time I've even thought about the World Cup since October 10th when all that went down with the U.S. team. So it is really hard, and I think I've always been a big soccer fan. So to have that happen, it is kind of tough because my overall interest level in soccer just kind of went down, and I'm sad that I'm not as interested. But I think this is good. I'm glad that we're talking about this so we can kind of look at those teams who are up and coming, and I think it will be exciting to look outside of the U.S. for once because every other World Cup has been so concentrated on, man, can the World Cup actually, or can the U.S. actually make a run this time, or just I'm so sad that they aren't doing well. So I think it will be nice to be able to focus on some other teams, but I think it is just really interesting that a bunch of those teams like Italy, the Netherlands, like you mentioned, won't be there, but it's a big chance for those teams like Iceland and Egypt, and Peru to kind of put their name on the map as far as international soccer goes.
Yeah, I definitely think you'll see a lot of, especially BYU students, a lot of returned missionaries will be backing their mission country. I served in Argentina, so I'm definitely backing the Albi Celeste this time. Just, Messi's got to get that trophy, but definitely a hard route, as we saw in 2014 with that final loss to Germany, which still stings a little bit, but it's all good, and we'll be excited here. We spoke with fellow BYU students Calvin Westphal, who served in the Spain-Barcelona mission, and Trevor Gruel, who served in the Peru-Trujillo mission, about how they felt about the United States qualification disaster and their plans for Russia 2018. Okay, so I'm here with Calvin, who served in the Spain-Barcelona mission. So just the first question for you, Calvin. Obviously, the United States failed to qualify with that last loss against Trinidad and Tobago to finish the qualifying group. What did it mean to you to see the USA miss out on Russia 2018?
Well, I know that soccer is on the rise in the U.S., and there were a lot of hopefuls that this World Cup would be like the slingshot back in the popularity for soccer, and just to see them lose on that kind of stage, it was a big disappointment for me and my friends that people are soccer. But as for the general population, the feeling after like just another loss, but for us it actually meant something. Maybe as opposed to previous years.
And you served in Spain, the Spain-Barcelona mission.
I did, yeah.
So with the USA out, does your loyalty fall to Spain? Do you have friends over there that obviously will be into the tournament? How do you approach Russia 2018 now?
Oh, my loyalties maybe were first with Spain before the U.S., but I'm definitely following them. I watched a lot of the games over last year that they had, and I'm following La Liga right now and following up on the stars that'll play on the roster for this summer, and pretty excited about it.
So looking at the group there for Spain, you've got Portugal along with Morocco and Iran. So obviously the Iberian Peninsula derby there with Portugal, Iran, and Morocco there in the mix. But what does it mean to see Portugal with Ronaldo in that group stage?
Yeah, well, out of the whole group, probably Portugal will be the biggest challenge for Spain. And with Ronaldo, he's one of the best in the world, best behind Messi, I say. But it'll definitely be a good game. But I think that Spain plays the way that they play, that old tiki-taka, big red machine, then there won't be any problem.
I'm here with Trevor, and we're just talking about how Peru has qualified for the World Cup. And so, first question for you, Trevor: what do you think it means to the people of Peru to see their team back on the world stage for the first time in 36 years?
I can tell you they're super pumped about it. During some of the qualifying games and leading up to those games, my Facebook feed exploded with, different pictures of the Peruvian team and different funny videos, taken, predominantly from the 300 movie. And it was really funny and goofy, but they're really, really excited about it.
And looking at the group, you've got Denmark, Australia, and France. So pretty tough, but Peru's definitely got a good shot at making it there. With the USA failing to qualify for the World Cup, where do your loyalties lie right now?
Yeah, for sure I'm with Peru, and honestly, if the United States had made it, I still would have been, going with Peru, and I would have cheered for the US as well, but the Peruvians, they really love it. I was actually in Peru during the last World Cup in Brazil, and they're such fans of soccer in general that they were all watching it, really passionate about it. So it's just really fun for them to have that team and for me to have that connection to
them. All right. And so back at it here, we've got Group E and F. You've got heavyweight Brazil, along with Switzerland, Costa Rica, and Serbia. And then Group F, that some people are calling the Group of Death, Germany, Mexico, Sweden, and South Korea. So looking at that Group F, Caleb, is that a Group of Death for you?
I definitely do understand why they're kind of categorizing it as that, just because, in the other groups there is such a wider distribution of the powers, as they are in international soccer. I think it'll be competitive. Obviously, Mexico has been really good. Maybe not as good as they've been in past years, but I think Germany, obviously has to be the big favorite there. I'm not sure they'll. I don't think they'll see a lot of competition. I think between those other three, between South Korea, Mexico, and Sweden, it will be very competitive. But Germany, I don't see them maybe even giving up a goal in that group. So, and then as far as Group E goes, with Brazil, you mentioned. Neymar, we should mention, just had a serious injury. Yesterday we found out that he'll be out for several weeks. So we're not sure, how much practice he'll be able to have prior to the World Cup, or what his status will even be, coming up on that time period. But I think they've also got to be viewed as a favorite coming out of that group.
Yeah, as you mentioned, they in PSG's Sunday league game there in France. Neymar suffered an injury to, I believe, it was the 5th metatarsal on his foot. So yeah, a couple weeks. He announced he'll be having surgery on that.
Yeah,
I'm going to miss some time for that. But yeah, like you mentioned, Brazil, definitely a heavyweight. They won the South American qualifying group by 10 points, which was a solid margin with a plus 30 goal differential. They just steamrolled through that. And arguably, that's one of the tougher, if not the toughest, qualifying groups, where it's just a flat round robin. All 10 teams play each other twice, and the top 5 make it with a playoff. And so it's definitely a tough environment to qualify from. So to see them have that much success. And then on the other side, Group F, Germany went undefeated through their qualifying at 10-0. With essentially their B team, too. Yeah. A lot of their star players didn't play in those qualifying games. And Germany kind of sleepwalked through that. They didn't have to put up much of a fight. So that'll definitely be a team to keep your eye on. And then just to end here, we've got the final 2 groups. Group G, Belgium, Panama, Tunisia, and England. And then the final group, Group H, Poland, Senegal, Colombia, and Japan. And just looking at those, I definitely think that England got a good draw.
Yeah.
Belgium is definitely the heavyweight in that group. Currently top 3 in the world with the rankings. And then I wouldn't be surprised to see Panama. Wasn't expecting to be here. It's been a while since they've been in a World Cup, if ever, and so they'll be able to look to pull an Icelandic upset, we could say.
Right.
And so that'll be an interesting pairing to watch. Definitely the England-Belgium game stands out to me. And then Group H, Japan. With the new manager, they've been having some managerial player problems just with the different playing styles that traditionally they've played. So we'll see how they keep things together. And then Colombia, again, coming out of that CONMEBOL South America group, definitely a tough team to face there with James. And so I definitely think that they can get out of there. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. England, for me, is one of the dark horse teams, I think, in this World Cup. They have been really quiet over the past several years as far as international competition goes, and they've got a really solid squad right now. I was reading up on some stuff on Harry Kane, striker for Tottenham right now. This one article named him possibly the best striker in the world right now. So they've got some really solid talent, a lot of young talent. So look for them, especially with as you mentioned, a group that favors them. Won't be too hard to advance to the next round. So I'm pretty excited to watch England, and then as you mentioned, Japan. I probably see Japan and Colombia coming out of that group, unless Japan just falls apart, as you mentioned, with some of those internal issues. Poland, another fun team to watch. But Colombia, they've really made some noise over the past several years. So I think they've got to be viewed as one of the dark horses. Are also coming out of South America. Them along with Peru and Uruguay.
And so there you have it. There's the 8 groups for the 2018 World Cup in Russia. Tournament gets underway at the middle of June, runs through July, so definitely a fun activity this summer to look forward to. Thanks for joining us, and for me, go Argentina. For Caleb,
go whichever team is the underdog.
There you go.